Kia ora tātou te whānau no mai hoki mai ki tēnei kaupapa planting seeds. Before we get into today's episode, just got to give a big shout out to Clothing, the official sponsors here of Planting Seeds, and I'm actually wearing one of their new tops. They're quite like a heavier fabric, so they sit quite nicely. They got like a nice longer length, good for winter, but you're still going to need an extra layer. But I've got their nice little yellow number on. I've also got it's in a black, it's in like those earthy tones, which are going to go great with everything. So big mad shout out to Clothing, but also to the whānau who are using the discount code Planting Seeds. I can see the metrics in the back end and everybody is using it really well. So just a big thank you to each of you who are using that code, because it's one way to support the development of Planting Seeds. So big mihi out to you guys as well. So keep an eye out. They got drops coming out every week, but big plug out to the bro Joe, Aira, Stan and the rest of the whānau up there. But whānau, coming into this episode, me and our next guest, man, we've got like a big history. And when I say big history, we've only known each other for a short amount of time, but the amount of learning that we've done together, the amount of growth that we have done together has been absolutely incredible. And so we're bringing him on today. We've got a little bit of announcement that I'll share with you guys towards the end of it. But Brother Nick, welcome, my G.
Hey. I was about to go like this. Thanks for having me, my bro. It's
bring up our mic a little bit, brother.
Like I was saying earlier, it's like a full circle moment for me, from seeing your podcast in 2020, from that being the catalyst to joining your kaupapa Te Araho, to being on it today. It's just cool, bro. So thank you.
But it's just one of those things that you just don't really know. For me, from my end, is you don't really know who's listening, but then you also don't know how far a connection can go when you meet someone. And it seems as though our connection has just been one of those organic things that has sort of turned into something amazing, bro, and it's just been such a privilege and honor to witness some of your growth, but to get to know you on a different level too, bro. It's been unreal.
It's been mean, bro. I'm sure we'll get into a bit of it today, but there's been a couple times in my adult life, at least, that have been massive growth periods for me, and the last 2 years with you, my bro, has been huge.
Bro, that's an honor, bro, because I think it's a two-way street though too. And as you know, I'm not someone who puts myself out there like I fucking know what I'm up to, or I know everything, this and that, but I really do feel into the growth and learning that is when it's reciprocal. I'm not coming into these spaces and feeling like everybody is learning from me and I got all the answers, because I'm learning from everyone who comes into the spaces, whether it's Planting Seeds, Te Araho, or even in interactions. There's this feeling as though there's opportunity and spaces where I can be more of myself 100%. Around people who are in the same environment and spaces.
Well, that's kind of what it was for me, bro. Is I've been in like the personal development mindset, hustle, life over in Aussie for almost 10 years now, or was 10 years. I'm back in NZ now, and a lot of that was like force and trying really hard, and affirmations and goal setting and trying to become someone, but there wasn't the same depth to it. And coming to work with you, my bro, it's like you just said the words, finding a space where you can be yourself. And I think when I left NZ, being young, being a young Māori man growing up, I think we create environments in New Zealand where, especially for young tāne, like you got to be the man all the time. And there's a pressure that comes with that. And I always bought into that pressure. I was always trying to be the man. And so that helped me. It helped drive me to try lots of things and do lots of things, but also held me back too. There was a ceiling to it. And I remember when you and I first spoke, when I was deciding to come into Te Araho or not, and I told you about how I felt torn with all the different things I had on my to-do list and things that I wanted to achieve, and whānau and business and just my own personal development. And I always felt like whatever I was doing, I was neglecting other things. And that was probably a bit of a sidetrack, but I think the main thing is that it was just, I was always trying to chase somewhere in the future where I could be happy. And but I found a real peace within learning spirituality, wairuatanga, and learning more Māoritanga, and a lot of that's come through you and your kaupapa, and then just the different things that's led me to doing different hikoi with the kaitiaki crew, or just listening to the podcasts that I listen to now, and the books we're deep in we were deep in the same book recently. So bro, it's been an awesome couple of years for me.
When you think about it in that way, and the thing that I really think about, which I feel we resonate to with deeply, is there's this I guess this mindset, or there's this ambition, there's this openness to, I guess, growth and learning. And before coming into a space that you and I have just sort of leaned into, is that there's these ideologies, or there are these blueprints of how to be successful, or how to be the best version of yourself. And we follow those things, but it's not until we have I guess moments and spaces where we're reminded of a deeper truth. And I feel you just being in that space of just knowing what it takes, and being open to growing and breaking down and all of those kinds of things has just been super transformational for your growth. And the way that I look at it, bro, is having a bit of an understanding of your background, and keen to go into that. But there's you looking into the whole success space, and we see glitter, we see rainbow, we see shiny objects, but I can say firsthand, all of your changes have been internal.
100%.
And so do you want to talk a little bit about your background, because you grew up here in Aotearoa, but then you moved over to Aussie to chase, or to dream. So talk a little bit about that, brother.
But I was born and raised in Northland, Bay of Islands, Whangarei. My mum and my sister mainly. My dad was around, but we didn't live with him from an early age. About 11, 12, moved to Wellington. So I did all my high school years and early 20s in Wellington. Met my beautiful fiance, Renee, in Wellington, and then we were only dating for a very short time, and she was going to Melbourne, so I followed her over there. She likes to tell everyone that story. I followed her. And so I was about 24, went to Aussie. I was a sparky. I left school early. I was pretty naturally gifted with some things, like smart, and I was alright at sport but I never really pushed myself hard. I never really understood hard work, and I never really understood goal setting, consistency. Like, I was the guy, I would get junior rugby player of the year, and then I didn't play rugby the next year, or I just wouldn't really care to apply myself. But then you went to Aussie. I was a sparky. I qualified at 20, 21. Went to Aussie 24. Went there for a change. Went there with Renee, and then I kind of just, bro, one day, it was a Sunday, and I was having a couple beers about 4 p.m. Sunday afternoon, and I was already dreading Monday, and I was only 24 years old, looking at other sparkies that were 50 and grumpy every day, and the job for me anyway was just going from one job to the next without there's no reward for finishing a job, no real satisfaction. It was just, here's another job. And then this client wants you to hurry up because it'll take you too long, or it's costing them money. And so I just thought at a young age, at 24, this can't be just today. But I'd never done anything else. I never set a goal in my life, bro. I used to think that goal setting was stupid. I thought it was airy fairy. Why would I write it down? What if I don't get it? I'll feel like a dick. So anyway, I got into property investment. Our mutual friend Annie, shout out Annie, she was living with us in Melbourne at the time, and she was doing direct sales, that hardcore, I don't know exactly what, but I think she was in the shopping malls, trying to stop people as they're walking, and that's hard, bro. That's hard. It takes a certain personality, and I was just, in this mindset of, I don't know if I want to do this forever, and I didn't like school, so I didn't want to go to uni. I didn't want to get a qualification. So I thought, oh, why don't I give sales a go? Like, I feel like I can talk all right. If I know what I'm doing, I'll back myself. So, but within a week, I quit.
Is this from that Sunday afternoon?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, within a week. Sold all my tools too, to buy a car, to buy suits. I got a couple of interviews. I had an interview at the same company that Ani was working at, but for the boys, it was selling car wax outside service stations, bro. And I was gonna do it. And I think coming from an apprenticeship background, doing all the shit stuff for so many years to finally get qualified, like, I was prepared to do that again. So I was going to take that. Sorry, but I just had a quick drink.
Oh, good, bro. Bring your mic a little bit closer too, G, if you can.
Oh, good.
The closer it is, the clearer.
True. And then I just found this other one that was online, and it said it was a traineeship, and it sounded real flash. I can't remember what it said, but I remember thinking that it was above me. Like, I remember thinking, like, maybe not even a point applying, but I applied. And I remember the interview. I didn't even know what a group interview was, and I didn't realize that it's quite common in sales, because sales is often very high turnover. Right. So they get like 10 people in a room at once, do a presentation, then you get like a 1-minute interview each, and then you're out the door. And I didn't really have any understanding of that. So anyway, long story, interview went well, got the job. It was a traineeship, so it was real. It was hard work, man. It was hard. It was like another apprenticeship all over again. But I got into property investment, and now I got my own business. We help people do small residential property developments, locate land, and it's based in Aussie. That's actually one of my proudest things, or one of the things I'm most proud of is I'm here in New Zealand in Aotearoa with my family, and my business is in Aussie, and we're doing it. So, and I'm a dad, fiance. Yeah, that's me, bro.
I am.
I am, full stop.
Yeah, but bro, it's cool that you had that awakening, but even just your free flow and the willingness to go over to Australia, you know, because of this connection that you have with the sis Renee, and going over there, and I think that's the cool thing with having a trade, though. You know, once you've got it, at least you've got something. But you have those moments, like I remember when I was a steel fixer, bro, and like that's mahi, lugging steel, and, you know, doing a lot of the foundational work. And I remember sitting, and I was in the mines at the time. I think I was earning like close to like 3K a week at that time. And bro, there were old fellas around the changing rooms, and there were some steel fixers, cranies, like sparkies, but man, just the energy that was in there, bro, in terms of the complaining around the money that they like not getting, or the shit pay, whatever. I was like, I'm sitting here like grateful as, but is that what my life's gonna be if I stay in a job like this? And I remember having that thought process, and I knew that I didn't want to be in it forever, but I didn't know what I was going to do next. But it took me a while to leave. But for you to have that realization and leave the next week, bro, that's like just so much there for you to go into that and be willing to start again. You know, do you feel that whether it's other people are afraid to let go to start it again because they feel that it's going to be hard all over again, bro? Have you sort of noticed that in yourself or other people, or what was it with you that was willing to start all over again, bro?
Well, bro, I think that's my gift and my curse, bro, is I don't like doing stuff I don't like.
Yeah,
so I can't, once my eyes have been opened, or my heart's been opened to like inception, like an idea that there could be something better, I can't pretend. You know what I mean? And there's no knock on trades, because I think it applies to many jobs. Many of us are working. Right. Many of us are working, doing something we don't love to pay the bills. And I just don't think that's what we're made for. That's not what we're here for. I believe we're here to experience life fully. And that's kind of driven our business. Our business, it was our investment strategy, but it's kind of just turned into our motto. We call it the LOOT method, LOOT, which stands for life on our terms. And bro, we live it. We live it. All our staff work from home. I'm in New Zealand. We have people on the ground and we have people in the important places. But yeah, back to your partai, I think most people stay because that's what they know, and it's very scary to do things that are uncertain. And I think especially when you chuck uncertainty of money, uncertainty of paying your bills, you got a family.
If it's gonna work.
Yeah, if it's gonna work. And look, my first mentor, he had a way with words. He said to me, like, we live in Australia. This is when I was over there. Obviously, we live in Australia, and if you lose a job, if you don't have a job, government gives you money. If you don't have a house, they'll put a roof over your head. So what are you afraid of? Like, it's not like we're in a country where if you don't make money, you don't eat. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know there's people struggling in New Zealand and Australia, but there's ways that you can survive. Like, and I think about my situation. I got whānau, I've got family, I've got friends. Like, I'm not gonna die.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I think it's just that I've been chasing peace, bro, is really what I've been chasing. And so I didn't really know that for ages. I was chasing success and I was chasing all these different things, but either way, I was unsettled in a job that didn't fill me up. And it wasn't that hard in the end.
And it's in looking at that kind of environment that you were in, like the image that comes to my mind is like Wolf on Wall Street, you're out there hustling, you're out there, like locking major deals, big deals, just because when you think about like sales and that kind of environment, it is sort of like looking at targets, it is all about like getting the biggest deals or closing the biggest deals, because what does that mean at the bottom end then? Like what is that environment like, bro, being in sales, like for those who aren't necessarily in that space?
Well, the place where I was, bro, like it shaped me big time. Like I said, there's two moments at the top, like that in my adult life that helped me become who I am today, and that was the period that I've worked with you, and it was this period. Because I was a young, naive Kiwi sparky, never set a goal before, come into this corporate world where, like, I remember very early, because we were paid a base, lots of sales, or this direct sales type of sales. It used to be a lot of commission only stuff, so that's got its own pressures, but our pressure was we were being paid a base to sell. And we were told, like, if you're a baker and you go to work for 3 days straight, you don't bake a cake, are you going to have a job?
Yeah, right.
So you got to sell. And so that was the pressure. And every day your numbers are on the board. If you come home if you come to the office, without a sale, because most of our work was at nights, because we went and saw people in their homes. And just to give a bit of background, what we used to sell was the company sold investment properties, but when you started out, you weren't trusted with that deal. You weren't trusted with that. You had to cut your teeth with stuff like door knocking, cold calling. And then our company had a membership structure where people would sign up as a member and they'll get access to different financial benefits, mortgage brokers, accountants, this sort of stuff. But really our business made money by the sale of the investment properties, which I believed in. Like, property in Australia has been great for pretty much as long as the first person built a house there. So that's what we were selling. When it started out, I was selling memberships to the company. So you're out there in someone's home at 8 o'clock at night, hour drive from where you live. You just had a 6 o'clock before that, a 4 o'clock before that. You had training all day. You're in the boardroom with we had 3 mentors at that place, but they were all like 6'3", like they were beasts, bro. They were beasts, and they taught, like they used to have this thing called sales dogs, and there's different types of salespeople, and they compared us to dogs. Like there was a Chihuahua, a Retriever, a Pit Bull, blah blah blah. And I was a Retriever, like I was the nice guy, soft guy, believe it or not. Well, I didn't like looking people in the eye, and because it used to be when I was learning, I used to think you had to look people in the eye and like tell them stuff, but it's really look them in the eye and ask them the hard questions, and I wasn't comfortable with that initially. So anyway, long story short, what was it like? Like, it was pressure every day. You had to be on. You come in that office. If you missed sales the night before, it's the most what's the word, like a lonely walk, because there was like, we're in St Kilda Road in Melbourne, which is like the business district, and you had to walk up the stairs to come into the office, and then at the top of the stairs there's like the reception area, and then there's the boss's office there, or it was the sales manager, and the boardroom where all the reps went into was just opposite it, so you had to go past them. You had to go past them to come in. If you didn't sell, like, because they'd be sussing you out if you're, because it's a real mental game, because if your head's out of it and your heart's out of it as well, you'll just miss, and then you'll miss, and then you'll just keep missing, and people they go out the back door. That's why such high turnover. And to answer your question, bro, it's just high pressure all the time, all the time.
Wow, bro. And so now that you're operating your own business, and you talk about the last couple of years of reconnecting to like yourself and back to your Te Ao Māori, and like how has that journey like been for you, bro? Like answering that call, but allowing yourself to I guess lean into it, bro, and how has that been helpful for just you and where you're at in life now?
It's just grounded me, bro. Like to go back to just to talk a little bit more about that environment, because I kind of just talked about the pressure. Like the other side of it it changed my vision. It changed my vision for what was possible. My mentor used to say things like, you see a skyscraper, a building in Melbourne, and you'll say, have a look at that building, who do you think owns it? And I'll be like, I'm not sure. And he goes, why couldn't it be you? It's like everything's owned by someone. Do you know what I mean? Or it's possible. So there was that, taught me goal setting, everything. But
because it needs that though, bro. You need someone there to expand your creativity, but also expand your vision. I've had like many conversations myself when just recently, I had this idea of, the kaupapa that's coming out, which is called Bridge the Gap for the podcast. And I saw it in my head of what it could be. And then I was just talking to one of the bros, and he made it into something way bigger that I didn't necessarily see, but me, that broadens my vision to sort of see what's out there. And that's just one example, but for your mentor to sort of like share that with you, and you'll be like, oh, because when he says like it could be you, you now sort of have a belief in it in a way.
I used to believe I was going to be a billionaire. Like, actually, I don't even want to anymore, but I used to believe it, because I remember my first year setting goals. I hit them all except one, and I stood it as a bulldog. People that know me will laugh at that. I wanted a bulldog, and that's the only one I didn't hit. But I had 10 goals, and I hit 9 of them. And I could have got the 10th one, but it was just hoha. I used to travel around a lot and stuff. Yeah. But like when I was in this, I used to move around the country. I moved to Perth, opened an office there. Moved to Sydney, opened an office there. And he was based in Melbourne. We originally started in Melbourne, and he would fly to Sydney. And instead of coming to meet me in the office, he'll meet me in like the Ritz in the city, like the nicest hotel, and we just have a one-on-one. And sometimes he's just grilling me for the whole time. Or not, like he's just tell it how it is. Like I don't think he used to call it this, but my other mentor used to call it throwing axes. Like he said, right between the eyes. And so I used to get those, it depends, some people got it often, but I didn't get it too often. But anyway, he was everything he did was well thought out, and it just broadened your vision and of what was possible, or he just always had a reason behind what he did.
Wow, that's on, bro. And now looking at these last couple of years, bro, and you sort of branching out and doing your own thing, and have you noticed that the more that you've like put more work into yourself, you've been able to like make the necessary pivots for, you to come back here to Aotearoa, bro?
Yeah, bro, like sort of back to your other question as well, like getting deeper into spirituality and like I meditate every day without fail, and learning more about my Māoritanga, learning about my whakapapa, even my pepeha. I just learned some more stuff about it recently, you know what I mean? So it's just that feeling of being torn all the time between different priorities. It's a lot easier to choose between the priorities, and it's a lot easier to be myself and to listen to myself, because I think when you get caught up in chasing and you don't have the depth of knowing yourself well, you can get distracted, you can get pulled, you can start chasing for the wrong reasons, or trying to fill a cup that can't be filled in that way. And that's what going deeper into Māoritanga and Wairoatanga has done for me. And then how that's helped our own business is just how I show up each day, bro, and how I'm trying to help our team there. Like I do Power of Now trainings, and I played your podcast with Te Ao Māori Pewharangi.
Oh man,
I played that because some of the knowledge he was sharing, I was like, far out, man, that's cool. And I think it probably hit harder for me because I'm Māori and they're not. But yeah, like I'm trying to weave it into the way we do things, and I'm big like I don't know, this has been a gift and a curse of mine as well, is I really don't want to let people down. And so having my own business with my name in the business, I'm that much more emotionally invested in it, and I just can't tolerate just shit. Do you know what I mean? And not that I've had to. My team's awesome, man. And it drives how we do what we do for our clients, but it drives our culture more than anything. But we all work from home. We do have an office. We're based in Melbourne, but two of them are in New South Wales right now. Arthur's probably sitting in his bedroom doing all the research at the moment, and I'm here talking to you. And we live our motto, bro. Like all of us, they're all to different degrees. Like I'm not saying they all live the same as me, but I don't want people coming to work that don't want to be there.
Yeah, cool. Bro.
I don't want, because I never wanted that. So why would I want that for them? So that's
wow. Who would have thought, bro? Like thinking about all of the different things that you've gone through, and one of the experiences that I think would be cool for you to share is like you came back to Aotearoa and went under Te Arahau Wānanga, but you've been on this journey of like reconnecting, but you're learning so much about I guess your connection to the whenua, but more importantly like to your papa as well. There was like a big thing there that you felt there was like space that needed to be filled in a way, but as you've sort of like gone on this journey, you've started to find all of the synchronicities or all of the different things that have helped you sort of like what's the best way, get clarity or closure in certain ways, like how was that trip back for you, bro? Like it might have been like a couple of years ago now, was it, bro?
Yeah, 2020, bro. 2020. So that's why I was saying at the top, this is a full circle moment, because in 2020 we were in Melbourne lockdown, and most lockdown city in the world. And,
don't get him started on the lockdown phase band, eh?
Stay off that one. But most lockdown city in the world, and we just realized that being Kiwis, we can actually go home. We had to pay for our quarantine if we didn't stay for long, 3 months, so we're like, let's go for 3 months. And what was kind of there was that, and it kind of happened at the same time. Renee found your Te Arahu, the opening kaupapa online, and I don't think I'd even seen your podcast before that, bro. And she played the one of you and Bees Wati, and as soon as I watched that, I was like, let's go. Like it wasn't just going home, but it was also coming to join Te Arahu. And I think for me, why that was just that little moment was because when I left New Zealand, at least I felt that like there wasn't Māori that was talking about meditating or spirituality, or especially young Māori men, and like being open and vulnerable and like shit. And I was just like, I didn't even know these people or spaces existed. It was always, staunch or being the man in all the environments I was in. Well, not always staunch, but just people trying to be the man. Yeah. And anyway, so that was cool. And so, we came home, and then we had your kaupapa, and you set us a challenge. You set us a challenge of doing one thing consistently that was easy every single day, and then doing one thing that's hard that you get 10 weeks to prepare for across the whole kaupapa, and you complete it by the end of the 10 weeks. And I chose haka because I didn't grow up in Māoritanga, and it's something that I was I grew up, like all my friends were Māori through high school, and even in primary school it was a bit of a mix, but I think it wasn't until I was in my teenage years that I started to feel a pull, but I was too whakamā by then. Like I was too shame to start from scratch. So I kind of avoided it a bit, and I don't think most of it was conscious. I think I was just, busy with life as well. But you set us a challenge, and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to learn a haka, because I know that every time I see other people do haka at a thing, like the only one I knew at the time was kamate. There was it, like tika tonu, I could do this part, and that was it.
That was it. Yeah.
And so I decided to do tika tonu, and yeah, anyway, so that was that, and it just coincided. Like, we didn't even plan to come home 2020 for this reason, because it actually got cancelled. My dad's 10-year anniversary from his passing
was during that time.
It was during that time, 2020. So like, that didn't even really register, because we were meant to do his unveiling. He still had his unveiling, but because of COVID, it all got called off. And so it wasn't even on my radar, but we came home anyway, and I was like, oh shit, I'm in New Zealand, like, I can do something. And anyway, so I was learning this haka, and it happened to be that my dad's 10-year anniversary, about 6-7 weeks into your kaupapa, and it was about that time that I actually felt like I'd nailed the haka. And I was like, oh shit, I think I'm learning this haka for my old man. And the reason that came about was because there was 2 occasions while I was just practicing by myself where I was like banging it out and had a bit extra
extra mana there.
A bit of extra mana in it. And I literally felt, I don't know if I saw it, but I felt like a face with a mataora like come out of me. And I was like even crying, bro. Like, and this was just, one time was in the shower and one time was out on the lawn, both times by myself. And I was like, well, like, I was crying. And I thought it was me coming out of me. That's the way I kind of interpreted it. But the night before my dad's anniversary, before we were heading up north to Hokianga where he's buried, my stepmom told me that haka was one of the things that he was never confident with, because he was adopted and he got deep into his Māori tanga late, but haka was something he never gained confidence with. And I was like, oh shit, that's my old man coming out of me. And I was just like, bro, I'm not even meant to be in New Zealand. I'm meant to be locked up in the most locked down city in the world. I wasn't even meant to be in New Zealand for the 10-year anniversary. What's the chance I'm learning a haka and I'd get it the week that it's my dad's 10-year anniversary? And the night before my stepmom told me that, like, I was just like, it's my first experience with like, I think there's something bigger than just what we see and touch.
That's next level, bro. And I remember you telling me that, G, and I was just like, like, I couldn't have been like more. It just felt like right. It felt like really as like a moment of just deeper connection, and just one of those things where all of the pieces to the puzzle just started to make this beautiful picture, and you're present with each of those things. You're in a space in your journey where everything was coming to fruition, and your papa was able have that kind of experience, bro. But then even at the wānanga, I saw that haka. You done it. We all sort of like done a haka in the whare, and I was just like, wow, there was just a lot of mana, bro, a lot of Māori, and it's just been next level to see you go through that whole process, brother. And another thing that I know is like big for you, or has been big, is you're very much someone who likes to prime himself and get himself ready. People who know you probably got like a 10-piece to-do list, just to get yourself ready, bro. But for you, like, what does that come down to, bro? Like, why do you have this, I guess this process or this routine to get you charged for the day, and has that changed?
Yeah, bro. So you're talking about, I got a morning routine where I wake up. As I've been a bit slack lately, but it's normally 5 a.m. I did a long period 4 a.m. But usually
that's when you're doing that meditation at 4 a.m. every morning for what, bro. 30 days 40, or
42 or 40 something, 40 days, yeah. But either way, it's usually before 6 a.m. I wake up, first thing, I hydrate, I go stand on the ground, bare feet, do a karakia, I do a haka every day. Quiet though, because I wake up the neighbors. But I do it every day. I do my pepeha. I say a prayer as well. I read, I meditate. I've got like it does change. Like some days are busier than others, but I have a short version and a long version, and it's just I know that it enables me to, because the world always throws problems or challenges at you, and I feel that if I'm not giving myself the best start, then those things affect me more. Whereas when I'm in that, I come out of that space, I'm on, and then some days more on than others, but I'm on, and it fades throughout the day. By the end of the day, it's run out almost, So I'm at the stage now where I don't have to do it. Like, I could not do it and I'll be fine. But I do notice a difference, especially if it's like I'm on holiday and I've slacked for like 2-3 days. Yeah. It's just, I'm more in tune with myself and I'm more settled.
I love that part of it too, bro. And I used to have, a morning routine where I'd do the same thing. And I think I reached the point where, the intention for it was to fill up my cup.
Mm-hmm.
The intention for it was to, like, as you said, give me the best head start. But as quite recently, I think it's sort of maybe a little bit different because I'm doing 75 hard at the moment, so it counts. But I feel it doesn't take too much to fill my cup up anymore. And I think it's because we're both in that season of just being more present. And how buzzy is it, bro, that we tend to step into the same thing at the same time, and we share similar experiences at the same time. And I know I've been talking about the power of now a lot, bro. Like, people who've been listening to the podcast, they probably be like, "Oh, bro, he's talking about it again."
Bro,
but
the dude wrote a novel on presence.
Yeah, exactly, bro. But you're the person who was talking about it, a lot recently, and I was like, sweet, I'm going to pick up that book. And ever since I picked it up, like, what a game changer in terms of how much more alive I feel. And as I said, it doesn't take too much for me to feel like great or to feel good because of the lessons and teachings within that. And so when you think about, because to be honest, bro, like, only 2 books have like really impacted my life significantly off the bat straight away. And one was the first book I read, which was The Secret, and this is the second book. And I've read a lot of books in between, but this is the second book that's been like boom, directly. I was like, I was ready to receive this kind of knowledge. And so for you, bro, thinking about presence and how has it sort of improved or helped you, because I know it's had a similar effect for you.
Where would I start? Presence, such a basic topic. Like, you say, or simple, like, concept. You say, if you ask someone, what is presence? Like, what does it mean to be present? They're like, it just means be where you are. And that's true, but I don't think most people understand what being where you are is. Yeah. And I only recently, I read The Power of Now first time, start of this year, and it was such a banger. You've seen my book, it's got Post-its and every page is dog egg, top and bottom. And I was like, at the end of it, it was a waste of time because they're all dog eared. But I've only just, after all that, rereading it again, I've only just recently been able to define what presence is for me. And what presence for me is being able to feel your internal energy without analysis, stopping the thought. And we're real mind dominated these days, like as a species, we're in our brains. And it's easy to explain this if you talk negative thoughts. So, like, people have negative thoughts, they have negative self-talk, and we just assume that that's us talking to us, but it's actually not. Our mind is a tool. It's a recording device and it's a projection device. Like, it shapes its experience and knowledge from the past, and then it tries to predict what's going to happen in the future based on what it knows, but it's not us. And so, who are we then? Like, what is us? What is us? What am I? And I believe it's the energy that sits, that you can feel within you at all times, but most of us have lost connection with it.
Blocked it.
And that's why, I believe that's why there's a lot of mental health, there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of like verbal, physical, emotional violence, and because we've lost connection with that. Because if you don't know who you are, you're not connected with your own internal energy, you can't connect deeply with others. You can't, the level that you've connected with yourself is how you can connect with others. So how's it helped me, bro? Like, it's like, we all have triggers, right? I was a bit nervous before this. I was telling you I had the dries. What's happened for me in the past with nerves is I get this like fire inside me, and it builds up in my stomach, and it's frozen me in the past in certain situations. And so what does presence do? Well, when you're not present, that feeling comes up, then my mind goes, oh shit, like, oh no, what if I fuck this up? What if something happens? And then it goes back, then the feeling gets stronger, and then, oh shit, it's getting worse. And then your mind starts playing all these stories. Presence for me is allowing that feeling, just actually feel it and stop the thought. Like, as soon as that thought goes, oh bro, you're getting nervous, go, got you. Like, he calls it the watcher. It's the consciousness of watching your thoughts rather than being
the thoughts.
Yeah. And as soon as you can just feel feelings rather than analyzing them, as soon as you can just feel them, they dissipate. Because what's a feeling? Emotion. And emotion is energy in motion. And energy can be changed. And the example I like to use is another one of my mentors. I used to talk about how I'd get nerves before sales. And he'd say, well, it depends how you label it, because nerves could be excitement. If you're looking forward to it, it's excitement. If you're dreading it, it's nerves, it's anxiety. But it's just energy.
It's the same energy.
It's energy. Well, I think it has a different flavor, but it can be the same. And
at its core, it's energy. We just label it in different things.
Yeah. And then by just feeling it, you're acknowledging it for what it is. It's actually just energy. It's not anything else but that. The stories are stories. The energy is just energy. And what happens is it dissipates, or it transmutes to something different. And as you get more in tune with your own energy on a day, like even now, as I talk, I can feel my own energy. And I guess that's multitasking presence.
No, I reckon that's being presence, bro. I reckon that's being presence. And I think, I think the cool thing is why it's been so impactful is because we've been talking a lot about it within our interactions. 100%. Even in Te Araho and other spaces, it seems as though it's been very transformational in that way, where it's been spoken about a lot. And being across from you, knowing that you're having similar experiences, it's creating just like more of a body to it. Because for me, knowing you and knowing myself, we know what it's like to be not male, but mindset dominant, in terms of having a certain way of doing things, or I need to do this so I can get there, because the mind has already processed it. And I think coming into this, the power of now, it's just a total reconstruction of how we have been approaching things. It's not having that destination mindset or that growth mindset. It's more so around like, how can we, or giving ourselves the opportunity to live fully now, and that's the beautiful thing that I've been able to recognize. And perhaps the way that we're talking is again, it's not in a way where it's simple. In a way it is. Yeah, but
it is, but it
and
isn't.
It's also could seem as though there's a lot of work between your mind and catching yourself thinking, then coming back to the moment. But there's a little bit of playfulness in it, because when you are completely present and free of thought, it's worth it,
100%.
And so it's just so great, bro, to have, I guess, someone to like bounce these ideas with. And honestly, man, like if you're listening to this and you've got to this point because we have a Te Araho Zoom call every Wednesday, and when the bro Nick comes on, we just like, it's pretty much like a podcast. We're just like talking about all these things, and the rest of the whānau are there like asking questions and involved with it. But that's going to lead to this announcement, whānau. So myself and Nick are going to create a segment within Planting Seeds, and it's going to be something where it's going to be a lot more regular. So you're going to get to know Nick a lot more throughout the show, and we don't know what that's fully going to look like, but he's going to be a co-host on the Planting Seeds podcast. And brother, I'm honestly like so overjoyed to be stepping into this next space with you, my G.
No, thanks, bro. Like the first thing I thought when you asked me is like, doesn't this guy know heaps of people? And he's asking me. But no, bro, thank you. It's awesome. Look, one of my passions is to look, I said this a lot when I was in Aussie, in that first place I was, is that I want to help my people, Māori, lift their ceilings and of what's possible. And what that ceiling is for me has probably changed, to be honest. But at the same time, it's not just Māori. There's a lot of people in the world right now struggling, financially, pandemics, all sorts of stuff. And I just, I want to be able to help that. And with my business, with property investment, we can only help certain people in certain financial positions. So this is a way that I can do that part. So thanks, bro.
And I'm looking forward to, we've only scratched the surface of parts of your story, but I know during this next season or this next space that we step in together, people are going to get to know a lot more of you. And I think we're going to be able to dive into some pretty cool topics, bro, that is going to be very valuable and rewarding for the whānau. So from me, bro, it's just an absolute pleasure to bring you into this space and
let's go
to co-create within this whole podcasting space, brother. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm just so stoked that you have the space to share your story, because I do see a lot in you. I do recognize just your gift in communication and just how huge your heart is to serve, and this is just going to be an extension of how you can explore that, bro. So I'm just proud of you, brother. Love you heaps, and just going to give it over to you, brother. If you have any final words for our show, for our listeners, I'm just going to give it over to you to close us off, brother.
Oh, pressure. The closer. Just some advice or something?
Yeah, just what's on your heart, brother, for our listeners, or if there's something that you feel like you can share.
Well, look, let's just go back to that topic of presence. First of all, everyone should read the book, The Power of Now. It's a banger. And I truly do believe that within that is the answer to so many of the world's challenges. We're in a distracted world where there's temptation and horror and all these things all around us and things to be afraid of, and we live lives 9 to 5 in concrete jungles, so far removed from what we are designed to do and be as human beings. We think, and I believe that's because our mind has become too dominant. We're smart, we're so sharp, we're cutting ourselves.
Wow.
And I think we need to unlearn a lot. We need to remember who we really are, get back in touch with our feeling state, our internal energy field, and then we don't actually realize how unpresent we are. Normally when two people talk to each other, people aren't actually talking to someone else. They're actually thinking of what to say, and then you know what I mean? They're not actually there.
That's right.
And even how I define presence in a one-on-one situation, I'm not listening to you. I'm trying to feel your energy while listening to you. And I think if more people get in tune with that, a lot of the ego disappears, bro. The ego cannot survive. The ego is built in the past, and it's always projecting the future to protect itself. Mm-hmm. And it's afraid. The ego is afraid to die. Mm. And within presence is who we really are. And life is always now. Life is always right in front of us. The future's an illusion. Past is gone. It's gone. It doesn't exist anymore either. And we're always living to be happy later. We're always living to be happy in the future. And salvation is never in the future. It's now.
Wow. Brother, looking forward to more of this. But thank you so much for sharing parts of your story. And I just know we've got some cool things in the works, and I'm looking forward to seeing what that's going to evolve into and turn into, bro. But I always just feel humbled. I feel energized around you, and I just know what's going to come is going to be it's going to be cool, bro. I've just been excited ever since we've been having these conversations. But you're right, bro. Everyone just needs to read their book, whānau, The Power of Now. We might need to do a book club of some sort, because once you get these realizations, you're like, whoa, it's such a high. When you just get something, it's next level. But if you're reading it and you're not really understanding the language, then perhaps it's just not a season for you to pick up that book.
Well, it's the thing about presence is it's like an emotion. It's like you can't explain to someone what presence is, just like you can't explain what love is or what joy is or anger is. You have to feel it to know what it is. And so reading it and what we're talking about is just pointing to it. It's not, you're not going to get it by listening or reading it, but the more you read and listen to things that are pointing to it, the easier it is to find it. But you have to feel it.
Yeah.
And once you feel it, you can't.
That's
look
what
away.
And that's what I reckon when I think about how it's written, because the language in it and like some of the paragraphs, you have to sit on it for like, you know, a whole night to a couple of days to really even like have a minimal understanding of like what it is that you're trying to interpret. But I think it's because you can't put language to certain feelings, bro. Like how you said, like how can you have this overwhelming, like you may have seen something or you may have had this experience in life, and like the English language is very shallow. You know, it's hard to even put into words this amazing experience that you've gone through. And I feel the language that he's using in this is the only way he can explain this whole big concept of presence. But when you do feel into it, you might not intellectually understand it, but there's part of you that's resonating with the things that are being communicated, and that's what I've been picking up on throughout this book. But I think we can just go into another episode around this whole subject, brother, so I'm going to cut it off here. Right, Fano, big shout out to You Clothing. Check out these t-shirts. They just dropped out a puffer jacket. Honestly, if you're using that code, if you've used it once, if you've used it more than once, I really want to say thank you, because you have no idea how much that is helping this show. So thank you so much to everyone listening. My brother, thank you so much, and let's go.
Sure, bro. Let's go.
Yeah.